Hello, everybody. This is Mike with Soundstage EDU, and I want to welcome you to our Ask Mike series on governance intelligence. And that's going to be when structure is ignored, someone pays. In our last episode, we looked at a situation where academic authority was used as financial leverage. A director tied potential grade repercussions to fundraising participation. That was case study number one. Today's situation is different, but the root cause, it's exactly the same. Structure got ignored, or it just wasn't in place. And this time, the collision happens between a band director, a booster nonprofit, and a rental truck. And by the time this story is done, the result could cost someone thousands and thousands of dollars. And before I go any further, I just want to stop and remind you guys that we're going to continue down this road of our governance series. Governance is important. It's not just your bylaws. It's not just parliamentary rule. It's not Robert's rules. It's none of that. Governance is simply how you established operations. There's governance in everything that we do. And that's why we're having these discussions. So follow the show while you're here. Follow us on our socials, because we're going to go deeper and deeper into this. So back to the rental truck. Here's the scenario. The band director rented a truck to transport equipment. That's normal, right? But it starts to go off the rails right away. The rental was placed on a booster debit card. Now I'm going to give this caveat. I don't know how these organizational bylaws are set up for this group. All I saw was a post on the internet that was full of emotion and fear. But my initial thought is, why? I know when you rent a vehicle, you have to typically put it on a credit card, not a debit card, but a credit card. In the event that there's a liability situation and they need the rental company needs that protection. But the rental was placed on a booster debit card. And the director signed the rental agreement for this truck. And while doing so, he declined the supplemental insurance. I don't know if he was required to present his insurance. Typically, when you rent a vehicle, they're going to ask for that. And it has to be ample. So I don't know where the failure falls on this, but he declined the supplemental insurance, okay? Moving on. He drove the truck under a bridge that was too low. Naturally, the truck was damaged in this incident. But now the director wants the booster organization to absorb the cost of this accident. And back to that thread where I saw this, where the discussion took off and went absolutely nuclear. It was full of emotion. It was full of speculation. And more worrisome, it was full of advice that could actually make the situation even worse. First of all, driving a rental truck requires attention. Those trucks are covered in warnings, clearance decals, height reminders. Also, bridge warnings posted on roads long before you reach them. This wasn't a mystery hazard, but accidents happen. I get that. And the accident is not actually the biggest issue here. The biggest issue is what happened before the truck was ever started. This is the real question. These are questions that you guys need to ask. These are questions that you guys need to ask your bylaws and your policies right now. Who had the authority to rent that truck? Who approved the booster debit card being used? Who signed the contract? Who declined the insurance? Those questions matter because the moment you sign a rental agreement, you've created legal responsibility. And when you decline insurance coverage, you have accepted additional financial risk. Those decisions are not small, but they are governance decisions. And these are discussions that you guys need to have long before anyone who has the authority on your board enters into any kind of rental agreement. I would even surmise to say that it would be a good idea to have a policy on there on who specifically can enter into rental agreements in order to protect liability. Booster organizations are nonprofit corporations in most cases. That means the board has fiduciary responsibility to protect the organization's assets. If a director can access a debit card, sign contracts, and create financial exposure without clear oversight, that's not a director problem. That's a governance structure problem. Because in healthy nonprofit governance, financial authority is clearly defined. Who can spend? Who can sign? Who assumes risk? Those boundaries exist for a reason. They're not just red tape. They're not there just to frustrate you and slow things down. They're there to protect you. Use them. And let's be honest about something uncomfortable here. Sometimes these situations happen because nobody feels comfortable telling the director no. And again, I don't know the full situation here, because when you're looking at something online, you know automatically you're not getting all the information. You don't know what the agenda is. What I do know is that these situations happen, and these situations need to be discussed on a platform somewhere, so might as well be me. Might as well be here. Maybe in this situation, the director wasn't technically authorized to use that card. Maybe someone handed it over because they didn't want the conflict. Maybe everyone just assumed that it would be fine because normally it is, right? Until it wasn't. That's how authority intimidation quietly creates financial exposure. Not through bad intentions, but through silence. Now we have the internet trying to solve it. People suggesting that the booster should just pay it. People suggesting that the school should cover it. People suggesting splitting the cost, but without reviewing the contract, the bylaws, the district policy, and the nonprofit's obligations. Those suggestions are just guesses. And guessing about liability can and will cost real money. I want you all to understand that this entire situation was preventable. It was preventable with clear spending policies, contract signature authority, mandatory insurance requirements, vehicle rental policies. These are things you need to have in place. They're not complicated systems. But you're going to rent vehicles probably often. Have a policy. You're going to have expenditures. Write a policy. You're going to have a situation where insurance, supplemental insurance may be required. Have a policy about it. Again, none of this is complicated, but they require something that many programs skip, and that's structure. This has been the second financial governance flashpoint that I've seen in just a few days. Like I said before, different situation, but same root cause. Pressure, improvisation, weak guardrails. And when structure is ignored, someone pays every time. I want you all to continue to send me these questions. Send me these scenarios. Send me the what ifs. Let's break it down and discuss them. Because there's a lot going on here, a lot of things that we need to discuss, and we need to stop guessing. We need to stop winging it. We need to go into these situations with absolutes, with full understanding. Because yes, we do this for the kids. But when structure is ignored, someone pays, and it's often the students that pay. And in a situation like this, it's going to be one of the adults. And that will still trickle down to the kids. I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. When structure is ignored, someone pays. In our next episode, we're going to talk about something a little bit closer to home for me. There's a 5th grade strings program a few miles down the road that's facing potential cuts. And the community response shows how quickly fear spreads when communication and structure break down. Because once again, structure was ignored. We'll get to that one in a few days. But until then, review your policies, have those discussions. Talk about the things that you don't want to talk about. Talk about the what ifs. Talk about the things that you think would never happen, and then write a policy for it to protect you. Because you never know when that one thing that's never going to happen will indeed happen. This has been Mike with Soundstage EDU. Let's raise the bar together.